Welcome back everyone to another video, another day, another dollar. With your boy, we're going to be breaking it down per usual with the ES future contracts. We're going to start off by looking at our weekly time frame, our daily time frame, and then break down our 30-minute chart, kind of go over a few destinations. I did not trade today. It was a very choppy session. Nothing really interested me early on in the day, and I just kind of sat back over the last several days. There really hasn't been a whole lot to trade besides the one big move up when we broke out of balance. In the last 2 days, there has not been anything to trade or has been interesting to me in order for me to take the trade. I took 2 trades yesterday, no trade today, and that's the thing about it. It's about the money that you keep, not about the money you make or the money you lose. It's about the money you keep, and today we kept some money, right? So we stayed out of trouble. We didn't get involved when we didn't need to be involved. Take trades when it's easy, not when it's hard, right? That's what we're looking for. And today was a very difficult day to kind of decipher. So we're going to go ahead and get into it. Before we do, if you guys do not mind, please leave a like down below, comment something, let me know how your day was, how's your week been, how's your month been, as we end up closing out the end of the month here on Thursday. Start the new month tomorrow, September 1st. And then, of course, we do have the long weekend, so I will not talk to you guys until Tuesday. So let's get into it. Looking at our weekly time frame. Remember, we put our weekly into a 4-week balance initially. Whenever we took out last week's high, we put ourselves technically back into a balance. Now, in earlier videos this week, and towards the end of last week, whenever we closed it out on Friday, I was saying how last week was an inside week, and you could say that this market was down to balance. And then technically, if you did that, you are one time framing up on the weekly. But for me, I like to see a little bit more confirmation before I start to believe that this market is truly turning up. So I'm saying that the market is in a 4-week balance. And once we take out that 44.50 level here, that 44.50 level, I will then say that the market is one time framing up. Paul, my mentor, Paul Asmar, who runs the Discord, he has been calling the weekly up, which is, there's no problem with that. But one thing I want to keep in mind here is how, where I have my weekly high at is where we began to find some type of resistance and stall. So far, we've stalled here at this 44.50 level. Now, we do have some more economic data coming out tomorrow. We had data that came out today. The market initially pushed up, but overall it was a kind of non-event, and we ended up with just some more consolidation on our intraday. Now, with that being said, I wonder if there's going to be some consolidation on our daily time frame as well. Right now, the weekly is balanced. The monthly is balanced. Are we going to put the daily back into a balance and consolidate above the 20 and the 50-day moving average beforehand? So keep this 44.50 level in mind. That is our weekly balance high. Weekly balance low is 43.50. Weekly balance high is going to be that 44.50. Now, I want to look some things I want to look at here. Is the daily within this weekly balance or within this weekly range, to kind of show you guys a little bit closer idea of how each time frame is reacting to this area of this 44.50 level. As you can see, we broke out of our balance on this day back on the 29th. We've been one time framing up 3 days in a row now, but each day has been less and less extension above the previous day's high, and the volume has kind of dropped off. These last 2 days, like I said, have been more of a consolidation period on the intraday. And the stall up here, the fact that we can't get any more momentum to push through this 44.50 weekly balance high here. You can see how we've pushed up and kind of wicked down a little bit of a spinning top candle here. We got near that balance, and so far I've kind of rejected it, right? That's one of the rules for a balance, right? One of the 3 rules of balance is you get near balance high and you reject. You get near balance high and push it up just a hair, stretching it, right? You should get near it and stretch the balance high. So that would mean pushing through 44.50 and then maybe printing 45.50. Maybe you get a point and then roll back over. And then the third rule is pushing to it, through it, and away from it, right? And so far, we're not seeing the momentum or the push through that we seen from that daily balance. Like when we had that daily balance, we broke out a balance at 68.25 and pushed through it pretty good. That's what you want to see from us on the weekly standpoint, right? The weekly standpoint, you want to see that. And then you also want to have confirmation with the daily and the intraday timeframes kind of looking similar, right? So maybe we see this market come back into some type of balance area, and chop around between the 50 and the 20-day moving average, as there is some structure in between those areas from that trend day back on Tuesday that this market could really use some filling in, right? This market could use some filling in of poor structure, and we'll talk about that on our 30-minute time frame here in just a second. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and bring that up and show you what that looks like within this balance area on the weekly. Like I said, this is I cannot stress this enough. This 44.50 level, it is my line in the sand, and if we do get above that, there is nothing from a weekly standpoint until 46.60. Really our ultimate target, but more closely watched will be that gap fill from the daily time frame at the 45.91 level. So a whopping 40 points above that, this balance high will be our next resistance area. But as you can see here on our 30-minute time frame, we've just been kind of having some type of consolidation. Not a whole lot since this big move up here. Just consolidation over the last 2 days on our intraday time frame. Today's high was 45.39.75. We couldn't get the overnight high in the during the regular trading session. We couldn't test that 44.50 or even get above it to see what was above it. And then we kind of just gradually sold off today. So just keep that 44.50 in mind here. If we take out today's low tomorrow, we will be putting the daily back into some type of balance. And then all this move up here, right? Keep the 50-day moving average is 94. The 20-day moving average is 60. That's basically where these sets of single prints were created back on the 29th or Tuesday. So let's get into our 30-minute time frame on our profile and kind of show you guys what that's looking like and show you the destinations that we did hit. So here's our profile. Here's our profile. Here's that 44.75 level. And as you can see today, value is basically overlapping to higher. So over the last several days, over the last 2 days, value has been moved up higher, right? Value is this highlighted area in purple that you see here. It got moved up here that you see that's highlighted, and then it was totally higher yesterday. You see highlighted, and then today you see it overlapping. So that is signaling some type of maybe short-term top, in my opinion. Whenever you begin to see unchanging value or value begin to overlap to higher, go from higher to overlapping to higher, unchanged, and then from unchanged to lower or overlapping to lower, would kind of signal some type of short-term top in the market on this push up here recently. And keep in mind that 90 to 60 area was where the moving day, the 20 and the 50-day moving average area, the 50 and the 20-day moving average is located, and that's where our single prints are located. Single prints start here at 89.50, and then they really don't fill until 82.25, and then the next set 69.25 to 56.75. So I would not be surprised if this market did decide to take out today's low, pull back, take out the previous day's low, and then maybe put ourselves into a rather short balance up here between the 4500 level and the 4550 level, or just really give it all up and come and pack in volume where all this poor structure is, right? Remember, these are intraday gaps when we're talking about single prints, and at some point that poor structure does get filled. But enough about that in the future. Let's go ahead and talk about what happened today. Today we opened up in the day's range, in the previous day's range, pushed up, took it out, but could not get the overnight high. Now that's one thing I want to point out to you guys. Let's look at where the overnight high was located for ES here. Overnight high was located at 41 25 was the overnight high. Today's high was 39.75. So we pushed up and could not get to it. Let me zoom this in just a hair more. So you can see there's our RTH high right there at 39.75. The overnight session high was at 41.25, and we could not take it out. We eventually ended up taking out the overnight low, at 23, which was right around where our point of control was from yesterday. So, that's kind of signal that there's some type of weakness in this market. If buyers were really serious, they would have gotten that overnight high, continued the one time frame up, and eventually gotten that 44.75 high of day and weekly balance high. But instead, we ended up not getting it, rolled back over, and then began to find some type of acceptance inside the previous day's range and value. We eventually got down to that 10Y point of control, traded at that 23.50 level. 10Y point of control right there was a magnet for the downside move. We got it, continued to push down lower. Attempted to go trend, but did not hold it, came back in, and it was just a very choppy rotational day. We ended up with today's high, today's low, and I want to say 10 wide, another 10 wide point of control. We did get the afternoon pullback low. That is something to note. Very late in the day, we probed to the downside, tagged 13.75, and then bounced back up just a little bit before going into the close. So that 13.75 initially kind of held, but we'll see how we open up tomorrow. If we open up below it, putting the daily back into a balance, and then eventually kind of melting down lower. But those are our destinations that we hit and kind of nailed it on the head calling it yesterday. But we do go out with today's high, today's low, and a wide point of control. You could technically say that there was an afternoon rally high here at 34. It's not a technical one, but we did push up and then kind of didn't really take it back, but I'm not going to call it one. It's close to the day's high, and I don't really like that location. So we're just going to mark today's high up here at 39.75. High of day here. If I can type. Last day of August. I can't believe it's already September. It's kind of ridiculous. We did lower point of control. Point of control at one point in time was here at 29.50, and then late in the day it did get moved down to 26.25. So it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 wide here at 26.25. So that is 10 out of the 13 time frames traded back and forth between that 26 level. So not much of a difference from yesterday's 10 wide point of control, just 3 points higher. And like I said in yesterday's video, a lot of times I find whenever we begin to have these wide points of control, it's either one of two things. It's inventory beginning to, people that bought at the lows, inventory being distributed up here, and laggard buyers kind of buying into the market and eventually will not sustain and it'll roll over once we take out a previous day's low. So signaling some type of top, or it is some type of aggressive buying up here, and we'll eventually go and see the highs. Now the market has been trying to move up higher, but just from the things that we've seen over the last 2 days and could not get that 44.75 area, just putting things into context, I do think maybe this market rolls over. Now that the economic data that is coming out tomorrow could put a damper on kind of what I'm thinking here. But we'll see, tomorrow after we open up and all that's been released, how we handle the day. So 10 wide point of control here at 26.25. Sorry about my little rant. I just think it's valuable information and just kind of how my brain is thinking here. And then we do have today's low down here at 12.75 is our low of day. Now let's go over our, what happened? Let's go over our destinations. Try not to hit the escape key again. All right, so there's our destinations. So if we open up below our 26.25 10Y point of control, it will be an upside target. However, if we take out the day's low today, you will go and target that 45.01, which is the 4,500 level. That 50-day moving average is hovering around that 44.90 level, which is where the first set of single prints start and is the lower portion of the upper distribution from Tuesday. If we get that and get below it, this market will go and fill the sets of single prints that fill at 84.25. Next set, 82.25 is where they fill. And then we have another set that starts at 69.25 and fill at 56.75. And then the lowest accepted price down there at 44.52.25. Now for the upside, if we cannot take out today's low, we open up above 45.26 and we take out today's high at 45.39.75. We should get that 44.75. Turn the weekly up, ending the balance on the weekly, and putting a really good start to September. And then your next destination is 60.75, then 70.25 where the gap starts, and then my ultimate daily target here is the gap fill at 45.91. So that's what I'm looking for on the upside. However, with what's been occurring over the last 2 days, it looks like we're gonna have to continue to wear our hard hats and just mitigate risk whenever we can, and wait for days like that day on Tuesday where the market is just giving us and feeding us nothing but good information all day long. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all had a wonderful day. We'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.